the whole concept of persona design and personality design, we've kind of gone back and forth around this a bunch of times in the past, because some companies don't use that much persona design and they still have high levels of task completion. Others really dial down on it, or dial up on it rather, and have really sort of like personal, sort of like personalizable, highly sort of humanist kind of solutions. So it seems to me there's different companies are on the fence in terms of how far they go down this route. What's your thoughts behind the whole idea of crafting the personality for your AI agent?
I love this a lot because I think this is overlooked as well. This is not only a chance to really represent your brand, you're creating a new brand ambassador by doing this, but also let's have some fun with it as well. Like, there are some business concerns we have to address. For example, there are governance and compliance issues. We have a customer who's highly regulated, and sometimes we can't have generative responses. They have to be canned responses because there's legal implications if they're not. So we will mix and match that. Like to the earlier question, we're not going to use generative AI. We're going to understand the intent and the answer, but we return canned text. So we have that. We have bias management and proper brand representation. But then also let's get really creative now, and it kind of depends on your brand. These generative experiences are amazing. Like, I go out and I play with Midjourney sometimes, or SoundDraw, Stable Diffusion. I am just sometimes blown away by the creativity of these generative models. Like, they're fun in themselves. So for us, sometimes as business people, just to throw out the fun, I don't think that's brings the most joy to our job, nor does it bring the most joy to our consumers. Like, we should understand there is some agency in agentic AI, and let's not throw that out. And there are some examples we have here. So, know your demographic and know your brand identity. And so one thing we had was a really interesting example. We had a internal facing agentic AI experience, and we pulled a lot of the branding away from it so it could be more generative, because it's just internal facing. And we still had safeguards so it didn't hallucinate, but we made it less stodgy, if you will. We found this most beautiful conversation. It was helping a front-end employee, and the front-end employee was trying to serve the customer. The customer was being difficult and really making the employee feel bad, because sometimes service work is that way. We found this conversation was amazing. The customer found it and sent it to us, where the agentic AI became almost like a counselor for this person. It was like, I know this person's being difficult, but don't worry, you're doing a great job. You're doing everything you're supposed to do. And that was the agentic AI actually telling the human agent, you're doing all right. Like, it was giving it coaching and encouragement along the way. So now you don't want that necessarily public facing, but those are just ideas. Like, kind of depends on the audience and your brand. So for example, if I'm like writing a generative AI experience for a bank, I need to be really careful there. Or if I'm doing something really for a playful brand like GoPro or Mountain Dew or something, like maybe it's more playful. And we can also, through prompt engineering, tell it how we want it to represent the brand, what kind of voice we want here as well. So those are some interesting things. And I will just say, this is truly your brand ambassador. This thing's on 24/7. It's your newest employee. A lot of our customers will actually name their generative assistants and have fun with it, and do give it a personality, how it wants to interact with the end consumer, whether it's internal or public.